Hey Ray, what do you think a gayborhood means?
I think it's like a gay neighborhood, like filled with businesses. Or maybe I guess it's just a lot of people live there.
I think that's a valid statement and that's a valid question. Whether you're listening for the first time or already part of our community, I'm your host JJ, and this is another episode of Unstrapped the Podcast. Today's episode features a friend of the podcast. Our word of the gay, our word of our, the word of the gay. That's funny as hell. I'm keeping that in there. Our word of the day is Gayborhood. Our topic of the day is traveling while masked. So unstrap, sit back, and relax. Let's get into it. A little bit about our guest today. Ray and I met about 2 years ago on a Virgin Voyage cruise. I was so happy to form a little community on the ship with us and a few others. Her wife and I were celebrating our birthdays. We've stayed connected on social media ever since. For this reason, they're considered a friend of the podcast. Hey, Ray, what do you identify as?
I identify as masculine, presenting, but no label.
Okay, okay. What are your preferred pronouns?
She, her, and they.
Okay. And can you tell the listeners where they can follow you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Rayish. That's RAEISHH.
Sweet. And the last question, but most important question, let our listeners know, are you team strapped or unstrapped?
Team Strap.
All right, all right, all right. I love how everyone says that with confidence. I love that for us.
You got to.
All right, we're in our first segment of the episode, which is the intro. Let's get back into this word of the day. So, Gayborhood. Let me read the official definition and let's get into it. A Gayborhood is a place where queer people live and or socialize and find community. I started to say this a little earlier when we were talking, but I chose this as the word of the day because I didn't think these were real. And that
Mm.
sounds maybe ignorant on my end, but I was just in San Francisco last week and I just went to my first gay burhood called the
Mm.
Castro.
That
Um,
sounds like
it
fun.
was it was a good time. Like you're met with like this giant gay flat, like really big. And let's be clear, I'm a New Yorker, so when I say things are pretty large, like I
You
really
mean
mean
it.
it. It was just kind of I was met with this massive gay flag, and it was almost as if someone took like a gay striped paintbrush and like painted over the whole neighborhood. I felt so safe. I had such a good time out there.
Mhm.
Did you know what a neighborhood was? And have you ever been to one?
I didn't really know what it was, I guess, because I just never used it that much. But I will say I've been to actually a few because where I'm from, we actually have like a few of them where, it gives you that safe feeling, or majority of the businesses are supportive or are owned by LGBT people. It's just so open and out there. And there's like multiple areas like that.
Yeah. I feel like as a New Yorker, I know that I've been to the village. That's why it's called the village, right? Um, and I'm not saying like I wasn't aware that we have our own neighborhood here in New York. I just feel like when I think of a neighborhood, the word that
Mhm.
comes to mind is safety. And I don't know. I feel like New York City has changed a lot in the time that I've been alive. And I bet people who are a decade older than I am, two plus, would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say I'm always feeling safe in Chelsea the
Okay.
same way I felt safe in the Castro.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion.
I can understand that, and I can relate, especially since moving. Like, it's definitely a different vibe when it's so many of the neighborhoods like that that you're used to, or area, and coming somewhere that don't really have that at all.
Yeah. And now that you're in Florida, I feel like that's even more so the case, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we're about to start talking about ourselves anyway. Temperature check. If you're listening for the first time, this is a great time for me and the guest of the day to just chop it up and talk about what's on top of our minds. So, like, Ray, what's on your mind nowadays?
The world. I mean, yeah, that's on my mind a lot. Also traveling. Yeah, I want to travel more. I'm ready for it.
Okay. How frequent are you traveling now, and what does more look like?
So I'm not traveling. When I think of now, I'm thinking like tomorrow, but obviously that's not happening right now. But I have been traveling a little bit more. I definitely want to. When I think of more, I think of like going more, flying in directly to other countries, stuff like that, staying for like a while. When I mean a while, I mean like a week. Like I want to travel, I want to visit some places.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to say, like, on that same topic, like, I I had a moment, and I don't, it probably was the same year I met you. I had a moment in time when I had a conversation with myself, and I'm like, I'm gonna I'm going to prioritize traveling as
Mhm.
something I need in my life, not something that I want,
Yes,
right? And I know
I
that's hard
love
to
that.
say because everyone has, different financial situations going on, or it may
Yes,
not even be financial. Like, you have different responsibilities. Whereas I'm like a lesbian with no kids. And
it
even though I have other responsibilities, that right there is pretty freeing for me.
yeah, exactly. It's like,
Um,
yeah, can't get
yeah.
up
And
and go,
so,
but yeah.
right. So for me, I remember in 2022, I'm like, I want to see how crazy of a travel journey I can go on.
Mhm.
And I was going somewhere damn near every month. And I was just like, I'm gonna bleed my account dry, but whatever. And I when I say it's gonna be something that I'm never gonna regret, like,
Exactly.
never. Like, I will argue anyone down who feels like, hey, you're just spending all your money on traveling. You can be spending it on saving up to get a house or
Mhm.
doing other like adult stuff. Like, nah, I'm
Yeah.
good, beloved.
Yeah. I mean, I
I
feel
don't
like as
know.
long as you balance it out, then you good. Like,
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna like go without, right? I'm not going that
yeah,
far.
exactly.
But like, and I would love to know your opinion on this, but like, I just feel like as I'm approaching 32, which isn't a big deal, right? It's just one more digit. I'm thinking about the fact that there are people in my life that own homes. There are people in my life that have figured out what retirement looks like.
Mhm.
And a part of me has kind of given up on those things. Not saying that
Yeah.
I'm going to be homeless tomorrow. I don't mean that. I mean, like, the
I get what
idea
you
of
mean.
like saving up enough, at least to live in New York City, to get a house. It just feels like if I don't hit the lotto,
Right.
if I don't do good at a casino, like, ain't no way this is gonna happen.
Oh, I felt the same way, and that's how I felt being in DC. Like I was like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and the cost of living, it just be like, who do they think can live? And that's why I was saying it got to be a balance between, yeah, like of course you want your own, you want to own a house, all of that, but it's like when you just like you said, traveling is a priority to me. And it's a priority to me because I'm happy where I'm at in regards to my living arrangements. And I'm satisfied. It's not saying that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just be doing this forever for, this is the last option. I'm not going nowhere. No, I still have that goal, but it'll happen when it happens. And that's my choice.
Yeah. Do you feel like in your relationship, because I can only speak a little bit about it because I've met wifey, but do you feel like you're both on the same page with that? Like, you are both like, hey, look, travel is a part of our agenda and that's what we're doing, or is this your agenda and maybe she has different opinions and you guys are still working that out? I'm curious.
Oh no, she's definitely, if anything, she's ready to just pack and go somewhere now. Just the and we can't say anymore to get some warm weather. Now we're just like to see some beautiful landscapes or explore some cities. But yeah, she's definitely with it. And that's the great thing about, being with someone who is on the same vibes as you or goals or whatnot. It's like, when's the next trip? Where we going? Don't matter where we going.
I love that. You have an amazing travel buddy.
Yes, definitely.
Do you feel at times that it's a bad decision, or maybe if it's not a bad decision, that you feel weird around other people who have made different decisions, whether it's they've decided to settle down and have kids, they've decided to settle down and have a house, or maybe put the money into a business. Like, what are your experiences related to like other people's decisions around you?
Honestly, I don't really try to, judge people overnight. And when I hear people are, they doing great for themselves, they buying a house or, whatever that great that success is, I'm honestly happy for them. But I think the only time that I get a little bothered is when people who have those things already or who just is about to get those things is when they try to make it seem like, now they're better than you in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Right.
you, honey, I made that choice. It's not that I can't. It's not that I won't. I just made that choice that that's not what I want to do right now. And once again, traveling is a priority to me. Experiences is a priority to me. But as long as somebody, it's just like with anything. As long as you respect me and my decisions, then yeah, I can do the same for you.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel you on that. I feel like I had a moment in time I used to beat myself up about that, and this is
Mm-hmm.
before like I went on the travel spree, but I used to beat myself up
Exactly.
about it, and it wasn't even like jealousy. It really just felt like there are these milestones that I'm supposed to hit. I don't know who's telling me to hit them, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And
I'm
it's like you
supposed to
playing
hit,
catch
and I'm
up.
not hitting them.
Yeah.
Right,
They make you
right.
feel like you got to play catch up. Like, oh well, so and so is. And I'm like, it's like you don't care about it, but it's like that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want nobody to slap that in your face or keep bragging about it. It's like, all right, sis. Like, I know you got your house. You had your house for 5 years now. You don't have to keep talking about it. Like it's just recently happened. Don't slap it in my face.
Yeah, and it's funny because that experience, that moment of like when I was blaming myself, and then me getting to a place mentally where I'm like, now we're gonna love on ourselves a little bit, and we're gonna just
Yes.
acknowledge that everyone's life is supposed to be different.
Exactly.
When I finally got to that place mentally, it was like a tool, like a mental tool that helped me prepare
Mm-hmm.
for other things in life, including what I'm going through, which
Hmm.
is I'm engaged. So as of last December, and you
Yay,
know,
congrats.
thank you. Because when we first met, I wasn't, trying to be like
I
trying to
know.
be like me. But something that like what I'm about to say is gonna sound crazy, but just hear me out. What
I'm
sucks about
listening.
being engaged is hearing from everyone else about your engagement and your future wedding. When
Yeah.
I say I hate it with a capital H, I am so sick and tired of people who are married who have made usually very extreme decisions in their marriage, including
Mm-hmm.
like blowing like 100K on a wedding,
That's
trying to
ridiculous.
convince me I need to do the same.
That's ridiculous
Or
to me.
people who are not married who are trying to influence my wedding plans. And it's like,
That's ridiculous to me.
ooh,
And I hated that
ooh,
too. That was definitely such a huge pet peeve for me. Like when we were engaged, and I was like, and people were telling, you need to have this, or you're supposed to take these photos before you take those photos, and before
hmm,
you make that announcement. And I'm like, I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do.
right.
I mean, if
And
you
it's
have an opinion, you're happy to contribute, but I'm not saying I will still respect it.
and it's crazy because it's like, unless you are personally offering to pay for my wedding, which
That's what I'm saying. Like,
anyone is
where's the
listening, I'm
money?
totally down for it. I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
show
You
me
want to
the
pay for the
money.
wedding? I'm here for it. You want to pay for this honeymoon? I'm here for it. But if that's not the case, like maybe rephrase the advice you give, and maybe even go as far as to check in to see if someone wants that advice. Because old
Mm-hmm.
me would have been overwhelmed by it, and I would have started making decisions based on everyone else's unnecessary
Mm.
opinion. But me now, I just laugh, and I know people take it offensively, but it is what it is. I'm a troll. I'm like those '90s trolls, with all that hair. I know I'm bald now, but like those cute little trolls, and they have those really, really long
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the little weird
hair
looking
pieces. Yeah, that's
trolls.
me. That's who I feel like inside. But yeah, that's kind of what's on top of my mind right now. But let's jump into our next segment called doom scrolling. And if you're new to the podcast, which many of you will be, doom scrolling is a time for us to talk about what we're checking out on our phones, on social media or the news, and Yeah, we're just diving a little deeper into it. What you been looking at on social media as of late?
I've been looking at like a lot of happily a lot of comedy, honestly. Mostly a little bit of teaching stuff here and there, some food videos sometimes, a lot of animal stuff, but my absolute favorite lately has been the little style where people do like the it's like they fake make a Netflix documentary about a random topic. And it's so hilarious because it's about a topic that's just so it's so random or anything. And when they talking about it, they showing like little flashes and stuff. But it's hilarious.
Okay, okay. My feed is all over the place. And it's funny that I made this even a section of the podcast because when I say I have things to talk about for days because I don't
Mm.
know, maybe I don't know. I don't know why my feed is never consistent, but
You need to
right
reset your
now
algorithm.
my algorithms stay messed up, man.
Oh my.
Um Something I just saw like right before we jumped on for recording was Tiante, and hopefully I'm not butchering his name. Tiante is a young man from I believe he's based out of Alabama.
Okay.
And if you are familiar with the name, you'll remember him for his stunning skin. I mean, like that's one of those people that you look at them, it's like, do you even know what acne is? But what they're more famous for is he's a heterosexual man
Hmm.
that is feminine, and not just feminine in this
Like,
is how I'm describing him. He describes
okay.
himself as feminine. And of course, you know, the webs, the interwebs are going crazy because he can't be feminine and not be gay.
Okay.
And he's been kind of on his influencer journey for a while. And he's always having to prove that he's straight. And it's like, well, then how does one prove they're straight? And it's almost kind of
How
like the experiences we go through in the career world.
and that's just ridiculous.
It's so bad that like I know I've been following him long enough to see him go through more than one relationship that he's public about. He'll have, you know, his girlfriend at the time on whether it's like TikTok or Instagram or
Hmm.
whatever. And every single time I see it, you see those comments and it's like people who are like, yo, we are behind you. And it's usually the queer community.
Mm,
And then there's people who are against him, which is his own. And so I'm just
mm.
curious about like what your thoughts are on that.
I it really blows me. I hate that because it's such a deep topic because honestly, there's so much toxic masculinity, and I know people hate the word or they hate the phrase, but it's honestly like I don't even have the words. Like if the man, I just feel like the way you express yourself is as long as you're not doing nothing illegal or off the wall crazy or anything like that. I don't care what you do or how you come off or how you look socially or or how you may sound or whatever. I don't care about that. It should just be, hey, look at this person. And then especially because they're in a relationship, respect their relationship. You don't know what's going on in it. And honestly, it reminds me so much of Prince. Like
Mhm.
Prince was
That's his energy.
at Prince and nobody like people were questioning, but it wasn't no question, it wasn't no disrespect type question. You know what I mean? They would just be like, "Oh, he's wearing heels," or it's like they would find a reason to attribute it to something. Oh, he's wearing heels because he's short, you know. But then whole time he's in tune with his feminine energy, and that's perfectly fine. And he will sing his ass off to the point where he got women melting over him, and we
Well,
all know that he was straight.
we know he was straight. Like we
Yes, I mean
just know. Like
he was straight.
I saw something on TV about him where they were I guess showing one of the places he lived and
Hmm.
how it was on sale. And I'm like, oh my God, I would be so grossed out to be in the same bedroom that that man was in, like more so than other people. Like, I don't know why, it was just food for thought.
No, I
It's
get
like
it.
I was just like, oh, the amount of
I would
women
want to
he's
live. Yeah, I wouldn't want to
manipulated.
live there. Maybe like,
Mm-mm.
oh, visit like museum type style, but I don't want to live there.
But going back to like Tiante, when I think about what he has been going through, and like I said, I've been technically following him for a few years now, it reminds me that the things that we go through in the queer community, masculine lesbians especially, we have to remember that a lot of the hate we deal with is one, like intentional. Like we keep trying to give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
but some people just out here just hating. Like
That
we're here to hate,
and
we're here to make you feel miserable, and that sucks.
and it's like literally just war within with each other.
Right. And I feel like
And
everyone
then,
should take a page out of Tiante's book and try to not find the positive. That sounds so boring and generic and like a whole load of bullshit.
you
Try
know,
to find a way to like, I don't know, gain something from the experiences. Like in his
yeah.
case, he's doing music, which is dope, and
I was just
he
about
be
to
having
say
all
you
these
got to be doing
girlies.
something.
He has all the girls in the videos. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's monetizing it. And yeah, I really just hope that he continues to grow and thrive despite the hate he's dealing with. But unrelated to the monetary value that he might, get from this experience, I also hope he isn't hurting, right? Like I've never
Mhm.
seen him do a video about like what's really going on in his mind, like a
Yeah.
deep piece. And I just hope that if he is going through a lot because of the way the world treats him, like I said, he's based out of Alabama. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'd
And
be scared to see him in Alabama.
that's what I'm saying. And then it's just always, and that it sucks so bad because it's just like I mean, we don't know what he's going through, but just thinking about it, I'm just like, dang, he probably just always getting looks or something. Like people looking at him like, and then if
Always.
they do know him, they probably still even talk about him to his face. Like he got to deal with the social media stuff, the probably around the neighborhood stuff, whatever. And it sucks, but honestly, you said it's been happening for some years, and he seems like he's thriving. So he probably got a bomb support system or his own support system. Who knows? But I'm glad to hear that he's doing music now. A good way to express himself.
Yeah, I hope similar to how I'm trying to build not necessarily a community, masculine lesbians existed before this podcast. But I feel
Yeah,
like I hope
definitely.
his content brings people together, especially
Mhm.
like feminine heterosexual men. The way
Mhm.
that I'm also trying to do the same for, masculine lesbians, all the labels and none of the labels included, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I really hope that's what's happening because
me too.
yeah, I just really, really feel for him.
Yeah.
I have a random question. So I saw this video on TikTok, and I'm the worst trying to remember people's TikTok names. So forgive me if this is your
I'm
content
the
and I'm
same
not
way, so
saying.
I get it.
But what ends up happening is I was on TikTok and I saw this video where an older stud had to have been at least 40 plus was speaking about this heterosexual woman she's dating. And
Uh
she
huh.
basically said, "Hey, I'm dating this woman and she thinks I don't know that she's straight, but come on, you're not fooling me. I've been in the game for too long." And
Wow.
how they went out on a date and she told old girl, "Hey, you're paying for it." And the first time around, the chick was like, "Oh yeah, I got money, I'll pay for it, whatever."
Uh
And
huh.
then, they went ahead and did something else, and now the girl tried to clap back to get her to pay for something else because it's like, okay, I already paid for something, now it's your turn.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's what I would expect.
and the stud was like, "Nah, you got this too."
Uh huh.
And I'm not gonna go through the whole video, but like the
Yeah.
point was, the stud was like, "Look, I know there are people out there that target specifically studs or the masculine and lesbian community. And the fact that like we sometimes show up as men in the sense that like
Mhm.
we'll be quick to like be the one to pay. We'll also be quick to also take care of
Yeah.
people's kids. and they really take that to their advantage. And so I'm just kind of curious about if you've ever been in a situation like that when dating, or maybe you've seen people go through that.
Actually, both. Yeah, I definitely was in a situation dating someone with a child, and it was difficult because yeah, people do they use whatever they have to their advantage, and it sucks on so many levels because especially depending on your mindset or your character, it's like people sometimes they'll play on that. They'll threaten you with whatever they know is whatever they know is like important to you. Like even especially if it's a kid, like, oh, you can never see my child again. Don't worry about them. And then you'll just be like, what? Like who does this?
Right.
Like what type of
Right.
person? Like it literally makes you question everything. Like what type of person? I don't want to be around this person. And especially when you know the reason and you know what I mean. Like I can understand if it's some off the wall thing type, serious situation. But if it's something like just like and I'm just making something up, like, oh, you ain't send me no money. I don't know for your child to eat, but I don't know. But it's still just stupid to do.
Word. When I see someone I know, especially when they're like me, right? They're like a stud or a
Hmm.
mask or whatever. If I hear you are dating someone or talking to someone that is leaning heavy on financial gain or
Hmm.
childcare, the way I'm gonna give you a wake your ass up conversation, because I'm not saying that people can't borrow money, they can't. I'm not saying you can't give money as a gift. I'm not saying you
Exactly.
can't help take care of someone's kids as a nice gesture, but like some people really weaponize that shit to the
That's
point
yeah.
where it's almost like you're trying to go to, if this is what you believe in, of course. This may not be applicable to everyone listening, but like people really try to grab on like certain instincts that we have
And
and
I
really
knew you was
mess
gonna
with
say
it.
that because I was thinking that
Yeah.
they be
Yeah.
like, oh well, of course they're not gonna say no, or of course I know they're gonna do it, or this is gonna happen because they that's what I was saying. Like they know your character, they know what that something's gonna kick in. That caring that they don't
Right.
have, I guess, is gonna kick in.
And I'm just gonna say this because at the end of the day, this is a grown ass podcast. They're doing it. They're gonna do it that way because it is incredibly hard to pussy whip a lesbian.
Oh man.
Your shit better be A1. Okay, to
Hey
pussy whip a lesbian is incredibly hard. So you got to do something
man.
else.
Yeah. It ain't you can only be A1, and that's not just from sex. Like just like you said, like it's
Right.
you gotta be yeah. You gotta have some qualities.
Right. It's a list. It's kind of like when you
Exactly. I
get
got a
your like car
checklist.
checked. Yeah, they got that long checklist. Like you really got
Yeah.
to be on it to, at least for me. At least for me, you really got to be on it to be like, oh, okay, well, sure. Here's my
Yeah.
card.
I get
But
it.
anyway, you know what? I know we're already in storytelling mode. So let's really jump into it. Let's get into ISO Boom. Once again, if you're listening for the first time, ISO Boom is our time to really talk about the topic of the day, which is traveling while masked. And because we both like to travel, we were already on that type of time in the beginning of the podcast anyway. But we're just gonna have a moment to kind of share a story or two about the topic, and we'll wrap up the show right after. So Ray, like, what are your experiences, or what is a cool experience you want to share about traveling while masked?
Honestly, it might be petty, but the best part about it, besides traveling, is the fact that I turn it into a game now. And it's sad and it might be fucked up, but I really turn it into a game now. Like I turn it into, they're staring at me long. I wonder what gender they think I am. Because I noticed that I get more stares, obviously, because I'm masculine presenting. And especially with the clothes that I wear. I wear men's clothes, including bathing suits, swimming trunks, sports bar, kids bar, sports bra. But I had to because I was always on alert. Like no matter where we travel, where we go, I'm always on alert. Like, I wonder what that person. Because we're masculine presenting women, and we still know to this day people don't like shit like that. People don't like anything at this point.
Facts.
But I never know what experience I'm going to have. But I obviously always expect and hope a good experience. But I still know that I have to mentally prepare myself. So that's why, like I said, I literally turn into a game. But I don't do it with every single person. I literally do it if people are literally staring at me like for a long time. And when I mean staring at me, I mean like looking me up and down, not in a rude way, but like staring at me. And just it's like they start to feel awkward. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, did I say something?
Word. Do you feel like you're more uncomfortable or less uncomfortable traveling while masked when it's just you traveling in the States?
Uh Honestly, I've always felt more comfortable from the area I come from, but moving to the South and because the way that I may sometimes travel is driving, whatever, it's I have to watch where I go. So I'm becoming more comfortable now because, it's been a couple of times that I went back home and stuff. So I know, where to go, where not to go, or just I try to never go somewhere I've never been in regards to traveling on the road or whatever. But
Right.
I am definitely becoming more comfortable in a way. But at first, I was always on high alert, like looking at anything, everything. Even as I'm driving, I'm on high alert because unfortunately my car doesn't have tents yet. So I'm like a goddamn glass car. It's like it's just windows just open. So obviously people could see me. They could see my appearance. And it also goes into I try to be a careful driver only because I don't want police to get the wrong idea about me from looking at me just from the window standpoint.
Right.
But I've
I,
gotten more comfortable, especially cruising wise. I definitely got more comfortable.
I appreciate you sharing all the things that are on your mind when you're traveling because I feel like that's not going on in people's heads when they see us. And
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes that can also and what I mean by what I'm saying is like what's on our mind can cause awkward interactions with us depending on the date and time, right?
exactly.
Like if we're really on alert, we're gonna give you that energy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be prepared like at all times. Like it is what it is. I'm not. It's not saying I'm gonna come off and just be rude all immediately. No, I'm always gonna fake give people the benefit of the doubt. And be like, let me not overthink it. But like I said, I'm still gonna be prepared. So that way, if you ask me anything, because sometimes it just be the looks. Like you could really tell like who really be questioning, like or who really may be thinking in their head, like, oh look at this one trying to be a man, and it's like what?
Right. Right. And kind of going into like my experiences, like I've done quite a bit of travel and I just want to just kind of point out something. Not nothing bad happened to me, but like I just want to point out
Mhm.
what it feels like to be a masculine presenting woman and kind of really being cautious about how you move somewhere. So like
Mhm.
I went on a solo trip to Bali back in 2023. I was
Mhm.
there for like several weeks. I wasn't supposed to be there that long, but that's a whole nother story. But before I went there, I feel like I didn't do a lot of research about like what I wanted to do. I spent way
Oh.
more time for the first time in my life. This is my first time taking like a long haul flight. So it was a 30-hour flight.
Oh
It was my
gosh.
first time in any part of Asia, Southeast Asia, like period. Like I've never been in that area at all. And I just wanted to make sure before that trip, I didn't care what I was doing activity wise. I didn't really care where I was staying.
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure I was going to be okay.
I
I
get it.
spent so much preparation, like talking to people that have been to that location or similar location. Like, all right, what does it feel like to travel as a woman? And I would get those stories. What does it feel like to travel as a black person to Bali
Mhm.
and those surrounding areas? And then I had to do another layer of, okay,
That's- that's-
so what does it look like being gay? What does it look like being this masculine presenting gay person? And I didn't even get that answer because at that time I really didn't have the bros that I have now in my life. So
Yeah.
that was the risk I was taking. Like, okay, I said, okay, I know what it looks like to be gay. I mean, to be black. I know what it looks like to
Mhm.
be a woman. What about me specifically? And I walked in knowing that, okay, a worst case scenario is if I feel really unsafe, I just gotta hunker down and stay in a place that makes me feel safe. But I was
Exactly.
shocked and so like truly, truly shocked and so grateful that at least Bali, can't speak for anything else, but at least Bali was so goddamn welcoming and so goddamn safe. I would go as far as
Good.
to say I can't imagine any human being going to Bali right now unless they were to straight up disrespect people in a direct way that would feel
Mhm.
unsafe going there. That's how safe
And
I
I've
felt.
heard people, and I've only heard it because my wife does a lot of research of where to travel, especially being a lesbian couple, well, a queer couple. But yeah, I and I actually heard that Bali was amazing. Like it's an open experience. Like you just don't have to worry compared to other places where it's like, hey, I think you should just reconsider this trip. Like don't do it at all.
And you know what's crazier? It's not that Bali doesn't have rules that are based on gender.
Mhm.
Like, so for example, right? Like, I too wear quote unquote men's clothing, right? I'm one of the big
Yes.
boys, so I'm at DXL, you know what I mean? But
Nothing
uh,
wrong with that.
before I went there, I knew that, for example, I wanted to see the temples, and there's like over a
Yes.
thousand temples. In order
Yeah.
for me as a woman to go into those temples, I had to wear like um these it's almost like a giant scarf slash skirt, depending on how you
Mm.
see it. But
Okay.
it was cool because I was still wearing like cargo shorts under it or whatever, right? Like I was still
Okay.
able to dress mask under, but I was still on the outside dressing as a woman. But I'm not gonna lie, even when people saw me rocking both, right? Like because you can tell I was wearing cargo shorts.
Yeah.
No one made me feel uncomfortable. And I love that.
Good.
You know what I mean? People did ask me certain questions instead of saying,
Mhm.
"Are you a man or you're a woman?" No one assumed, but they
Yes.
would find like harmless questions to try to gauge what's up. I love that. I love that so much.
Damn, it's like they had a class. I love that.
Like people didn't ask me if I had a husband. They would ask, you
Yeah.
know, about my partner and
Ooh.
wait for me to say something. And when I would say it's a woman or, I have a girlfriend, there was no
Mhm.
change in that body language. There was no change in the convo. And I was like, fuck yeah. Why isn't the
I
world like
like
this?
that.
And everyone I met was religious as fuck. So it wasn't
Mm.
like I was about around a whole bunch of quote unquote heathens or atheists,
I
right?
was
Like
just about to say,
all the heathens, nah, not everybody was super religious. So people were able to still, be happy in their culture, be happy in their
mhm.
religion, and still respect others. Bali was a
And
game
that's,
changer for me, and I get why people brag about it so much.
I can't wait to visit.
Oh, you have to. And
I am
also just
excited.
for some travel advice. I know this is not a travel podcast, but it is the topic. If you are going to go to Bali, if I changed anything about my trip, I went solo. It was amazing solo, but financially, the golden number is four. If you can go there with two people or four people, you're going to get the most bang for your buck. We're going to talk about that
Ooh.
more after the podcast, but you know, you can have some fun out in Bali financially, right? You can
Mm,
really
don't
ball
tell me
out
that.
as an
Look here.
American. So, just some friendly advice for anyone who made it this far into the pod or whatever. Do you have any advice on traveling as Mask or any place in the world that you felt really safe in?
I would say to just be yourself. Like don't don't react. You like I know that sometimes and I'm not saying it's right for people to look at us any type of way or whatever the hell, obviously. But sometimes you do have to be the better person, especially when you traveling and you just gotta, just stand your ground and just relax. Don't always jump to conclusions unless obviously they come over to you and they ask you something crazy or doing something rude or shit. But yeah, that's definitely what I would say. I know that the place that I felt most comfortable being myself and I mean like walking around and people actually interacting with me positively was in Bermuda. The people there are so friendly and they're so sweet and I rode the public transportation and the people are just amazing there. Like it was definitely an experience and nobody even walking around the city, nobody was looking at me weird. Like of course they knew we were tourists in a way, but nobody was giving a little side look or staring and wondering. It was just always a smile when possibly made eye contact or it was just great. I didn't have to worry about anything. I felt safe.
Yeah. I think you brought up something really important, which is kind of like just be mindful of how you react to things and try to be
Yeah,
the bigger person, right? Like it always sucks being the bigger person.
it
That saying
does.
is so annoying,
And
but
it's tiring.
it's so true. Because honestly,
It's
honestly, you don't even know sometimes what's really going on in someone's mind or what
of
has happened in someone
course.
else's life. And so, like, I think the best thing you can do is show up and show out. And then what I mean by that is like, yo, if you feel like you're being discriminated against, try
Mhm.
your best to move how you originally wanted them to move with you and make sure you're doing so, you know, within your comfort, right? Like, I never would want someone to take some advice like be the bigger person, then now they getting knocked the fuck out or worse, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah. Like, I don't mean like that.
yeah, like let's be clear. I'm never putting
Nah,
myself where I'm like in physical harm. But
that's what I'm
at the same
saying.
time
Like,
too. Now you good, you good.
oh no, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, but what I was saying was what I like to do to calm myself down in the middle of kind of weird tension, if you will, is like
Hmm.
I remember all the things that I represent. I
Exactly.
remember that, I had that list of things that I had to think about before going to Bali. Like I am a woman at the end of the day. Like so how I react, I show up for women. I also show up for, black people. I show up for lesbians and the masculine lesbian community. And that might be very heavy on certain people's shoulders, but for me it's heavy enough for me to, stay firm in how I'm
Hmm.
feeling and how I move. And that's helped guide me through a lot of weird situations like this, especially when traveling. Like, okay, these people are going to judge my entire community based on what I do right now.
Exactly.
So let me chill.
You have to,
You know what I
just like you
mean?
said, you got to be mindful.
Yeah, I would say the only other place I know I already said Bali was lit, but I would say what where else have I been where I just felt super duper comfortable? I felt Aruba was like incredibly safe. Once again,
Oh, I
that's
haven't
one of
been
those
there
places where
yet.
a lot of people brag about, and it's definitely the hype. Like I love me Aruba, but as a black person, they have the other side of Aruba. When I say the other side, there's a side where it's mostly like African descendants, and it's
Oh,
something they
okay.
take pride in. They call it Chocolate City. I loved me some
Oh,
Aruba. I felt so safe, so
it was
incredibly
funny that
safe.
you.
Just to
I
be
like that. And I've never been. That's
yeah,
on
and
one
I'm
of the
like,
lists.
the Caribbean can be a little, up in the air about, what does it feel like to be safe? Like we might have gotten in and out
Definitely.
safely, but did you feel safe the whole time? Like Aruba, like shout out from anyone who's ever been to Aruba or is from Aruba. Like I felt incredibly safe there. And I always tell people if you ever wanted to do your first solo travel, especially if you're a person of color, especially if you're a queer person, Aruba is a great place to start if you're in the States.
Mm.
Like just it's incredible how safe I felt while out there. I won't get into details, but Definitely food for thought.
You gonna have me booking vacations again.
I mean, you were already booking them. You might as well know where to go next, right? I don't know.
You
I'm about
right.
to hit you up after about like what's happening with the cruises because after Virgin Voyages, I'm like, hey, I don't know where else I can go because Virgin Voyages was up. That was some 5-star experience, and now I'm traumatized.
Man. And see, since the last cruise we were on, we've done two. We tried MSC for our honeymoon, and that was actually great. It's definitely had its pluses. It just felt real elegant, like and it was definitely more international people, which wasn't a problem, of course. And we just recently did the Virgin Voyages Christmas cruise, and that was amazing.
Ooh,
That was
that sounds nice.
it was oh my gosh, it was great. And because we actually booked this cruise on the first Virgin Voyages cruise, we had, more credit to go towards things. So we did a little bit more activities that we kind of wanted to try last time, but the bookings, yeah. If you don't find it right away or look that first day, it'd be sold out. So last time a lot of them were sold out. Like we did the one where you drink like 8 drinks or 6 to 8 drinks. It's like a bartender competition between two bartenders, and you're trying both of their drinks and voting.
Oh wow. See,
It was great though.
I'm trying to have those experiences. I'm just gonna consult you when it
Yeah.
comes to cruising specifically. But anyway, y'all, I know we're getting to the end of our show. We're just gonna wrap up everything. Ray, I just wanted to just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like we're still in the very early phases of this podcast, and so I appreciate that you took time out of your day. Right, you have a whole job, a whole wife, and yet you decided to spend time with me and this pod. I appreciate you, friend, for sure. And I just hope you had a good
Yeah, of
experience.
course.
And thank you so so much, the listener, for tuning in to Unstrap the Podcast. Whether you're strapped or unstrapped, a part of the LGBTQIA plus family or an ally, I'm grateful you're here. We have so many people to meet, stories to share, and journeys to take together, and I'm excited you're a part of it. If you want to keep up with us between episodes, follow us on social media. Just search Unstrap the Podcast. Yes, please type the whole thing. Don't be shy. My DMs are open. You can request to be a guest, drop a question, drop a question, correction, send some love, or just say hi. You might even hear your question on a future episode during our Lost and Found bonus segment. In case you forgot, we drop every 2 weeks on a Monday. Until next time, unstrap, sit back, and stay connected. We'll speak again soon.